Convenient Betrayal, Part 3. In the previous presentation, we examined how Job's wife betrayed God because of disappointment, because of grief, because of poverty, because of discouragement. Sudden destruction came upon them, and she encouraged her husband to curse God and die. Why? Because it was convenient to do so, because the winds of fortune had shifted and they were no longer blowing in their favor. And as Job's wife was, so many of God's people today are. That we are only serving God because this is the ebb and flow of the tide of public opinion or of the circumstances and experience. Many of us do not serve God when nothing at all is going in our favor. Many of us do not serve God when we are praying and He says nothing. Many of us cease to serve God faithfully when He does not answer our prayers, give us the desires of our heart, and work things out in our favor the way we desire them to be. But God allows trials and temptations to come upon us that are calculated to reveal to us what is in our heart, so that we can see where we stand, that we can take heed lest we fall, and that we can know whether or not we are going to conveniently betray Christ. Just like Balaam. In Numbers chapter 22 verse 5 to 37, Balaam had a problem, and obviously we will not and we cannot read all of that in this 5-minute block. However, we recognize that Balaam was tempted with the reward of money. Balaam sold his soul, he sold his ministry, he sold his prophetic office for selfish gain. He tried to conveniently betray Christ so that he could have received the rewards of divination, the Bible says. In 2 Peter chapter 2 verse 14 to 17, having eyes full of adultery, and that cannot cease from sin, beguiling unstable souls, and heart they have exercised with covetous practices, cursed children, which have forsaken the right way, and are gone astray, following the way of Balaam, the son of Bosor, who loved the wages of unrighteousness, but was rebuked for his iniquity. The dumbass, speaking with man's voice, forbade the madness of the prophet. These are wells without water, clouds that are carried with the tempest, to whom the mist of darkness is reserved forever. So for the reward of divination, for the unrighteous reward, for the gods of Mammon, Balaam betrayed conveniently his prophetic office and placed a stumbling block before the children of Israel in the form of the Midianitish women, who encouraged the men of Israel to commit fornication and adultery, which caused the death of thousands of them. Why did all of this calamity happen? Because one man's disobedience, one man uncommitted relationship with Christ. And when you go through the entire scenario, even though God was using Balaam, he was not satisfied. His commitment may have been strong in the times past, but it got weak as time progressed. And it was tested, and he was being tested. And beloved, all of us would be tested likewise here at the end of the world. For we have to face the test of not being able to buy ourselves. Whether we are rich or we are poor, whether we are free, whether we are born, whether we are high, whether we are low, whether we are great, whether we are small, we would be faced with the test of whether or not we will conveniently betray Christ for the love of money. And so, beloved, where will your soul stand in that day? And you will know where your soul will stand in that day if you understand where your soul stands today. Will you be like Balaam, who conveniently betrayed God, who conveniently betrayed his prophetic office, his sacred duty, who conveniently betrayed the children of Israel, the people of God, for a morsel of bread, for money. Beloved, examine your souls today and take heed to know whether you stand or where you can fall, that Christ may strengthen your relationship with him now, so that you would not be like the man who built his house upon the sand, but rather the man who built his house upon the rock. This is the Word of Life with Andre Knight.